Hi, and welcome along to AFTV News Daily. I hope that you're all doing well today, especially under these really trying circumstances at the moment. Welcome along to the brand new early edition of the News Daily show. A lot of people have been asking in the comments saying, why don't you do a show, earlier on as well? And I'm like, yo, bro, I've got to sleep, The man's got to sleep, you know what I mean? But you know what? Having said that, I'm looking at it like, it may as well, because I don't know about you guys, my whole sleep pattern, everything has just gone out of the window with this whole coronavirus crisis. You know what I mean? I don't know what time to wake up. I don't know what time to go to bed. I don't know what day it is. What day is it today? You know what I mean? It is absolutely crazy at the moment. But I hope that everybody's bearing up well. I hope that everybody's well, and wishing you all a great day today. Now, let's get into some of the news floating around. First of all, this one is disturbing for me, right? Because again, it's another one of what I class as one of Arsenal's key players. Although I'd have to say that, in assessment of what he's been like since he's been there, it's been a bit hit and miss. But Lucas Torreira today being linked with a move away from Arsenal. Now, again, as I said, for me, disturbing that Torreira has been linked with a move away from Arsenal. AC Milan said to be interested in bringing him in. Now, AC Milan were chasing Torreira last season, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Arsenal decided to keep hold of Torreira. But the thing is about Torreira is that he's just been it seems just like a bit of a bit part player at Arsenal. Unai Emery at first wasn't really playing him all the time, and even when Mikel Arteta came in, he was playing him, but not as much as what most fans thought. I think most fans thought that Torreira would be a fixture and he'd be in that midfield each and every week. But if anything, the person that always seems to feature in that midfield was always Granit Xhaka. So could Torreira be surplus to requirements this summer? Could Arsenal cash in on him? The price tag seems to be being put on his head at the moment. It seems to be around about the £40 million mark, which means that he would be a player of value. And as I said, AC Milan interested in him. Napoli were interested in him as well last season. And then as well, there were those rumours that Torreira wasn't exactly happy in London. That was more before the start of last season. But I don't know. What do you guys feel about it? Do we need to hold on to Torreira? Are you worried by these rumours? I still think that Torreira will stay, but I just get the feeling that if, say, a team came in with a serious bid, if AC Milan were serious, and I don't know if AC Milan would be able to get £40 million together, because they're one of them clubs in a similar sort of boat to us where they just don't have that sort of free flow of money. But if they did come in with a serious offer, would you cash in on Lucas Torreira? I'd like to ask you guys that one today. There's also rumours of Edouard. I spoke about it yesterday. Those rumours are still there as well today. Edouard from Celtic, possible as a possible replacement for Aubameyang. If Aubameyang goes in the summer, which again, who knows if Aubameyang's going to go in the summer? It's such a crazy time at the moment with football that you wonder to yourself, some of these big moves being touted around, how can they happen? How can these moves possibly, take place with the circumstances that are going around in football at the moment? There's a lot of talks that clubs could lose, or the Premier League could lose, should I say, £1 billion if the season is not completed. Now, that is a serious, serious dent in the finances of every Premier League football club. And that sort of thing will be replicated right across Europe as well. You know what I mean? A lot of clubs will be losing mega money. Where are they going to get the money from to make these so-called signings that a lot of people are talking about and it's being touted around? But Edouard being linked with Arsenal, again, the price tag seemed to be put on his head would be about 40 million. For me, not worth that. good striker. Has done well at Celtic, scored a lot of goals, but unproven in the Premier League. And we've already got Lacazette as well. He's not better than Lacazette, is he? So, but it's still out there today that Arsenal could be interested in him if they was to sell Aubameyang. The next one that's quite interesting is the rumour regarding this centre-back from Atletico Bilbao. Goes by the name of Unai Nunes. Centre-back, 23. He's got a £26 million release clause. And this is interesting. A lot of clubs in the Premier League, a lot of clubs across Europe. Bayern Munich said to be interested in him. Man City are interested in him, and of course Arsenal are interested in him as well. Mikel Arteta sees him as a player that could really come in and do a great job at Arsenal. Again, he won't be cheap because, you know, you've got, as I said, £26 million release clause on it, and with the amount of money that's going to be around, which is not going to be a lot, as I keep saying, that won't be the cheapest. But being linked with a move to Arsenal today, and we know that we need a centre-back. What's going to happen to Pablo Mari? That's going to be the interesting one. If we didn't complete the season, what happens with Pablo Mari? He is still on loan. The talk is that Arsenal want to sign him permanently. We know that Saliba's going to be coming in. We know that Arsenal would possibly like to move out a couple of the defenders they've got, but is it all going to get done? How's it all going to get done? This season is going to be the craziest, I'm telling you, because of the financial situation that, you know, clubs find themselves in. Thank you for all the comments you got coming in. There's loads of comments coming in. Lots of condolences. Thank you. This one here from Jared McCormack. He said, condolences to your old man, Robbie. Sending thoughts to you from Melbourne, Australia. Love your work, mate. Big up all the Aussies right now. Enough respect to you guys. And thank you very much for that message and all the kind messages that I've received. Back on the football here. Mesut Ozil now, his agent today has come out and said basically that he's advising all of his clients, which of course that will include Mesut Ozil, not to take a pay cut. And if you would have watched the show that we did yesterday, we spoke about this. I spoke about this with I had Turkish on the show, and we spoke about the pay cut thing. And Turkish felt very strongly that the players were being made a scapegoat in this whole sort of furlough pay cut thing, and that why should players have to take a 30% pay cut? Now, some of you guys agree with it. Some of you guys don't agree with it. I think we should put a poll in today. I really want to find out from you guys, what do you feel? Should every Premier League player take a 30% pay cut or no? Do you think that it's up to the players to decide what they want to give? And Mesut Ozil's agent kind of saying that. He's saying that, listen, players give a lot of money. They give a lot of money to charity. And I can tell you that Mesut Ozil, I know he's sometimes portrayed as this greedy guy, 350 grand a week, blah, blah, blah. But he gives a lot of money to charity. He really does do a lot for charity, Mesut Ozil, constantly. That's one thing about that guy that nobody can say. He gives a lot to charity. And are these players being made scapegoats? Now, his agent is saying that, listen, he's advising all of his clients to accept a deferral in payment, but not to just accept a 30% pay cut, because, you know, they want to see the overall situation of what clubs are going to be in before they agree to these pay cuts, etc. And also what he's saying is every club's a bit different. There could be certain clubs that are in absolute dire shape and they need that pay cut. There could be other clubs that, you know, they can bounce back from this pretty quickly and not need the pay cut. I mean, so it's a real sort of complicated one, this one. But I want to leave it with you guys. I don't want to influence this decision now. What do you guys think? Do you think that players should be taking a 30% pay cut, as was suggested by one of the ministers over here? Or do you think it's up to the players to negotiate that? Let the players negotiate that with the clubs, what any pay cut, if any, will be, or maybe they might want to defer their wages. Let them decide. I want you guys to vote on that today. We're going to put a poll up after this live stream's finished, and get your opinions on it. And maybe I'll have a look at that poll when we get back to tonight's show, and find out what you guys thought about that. The other thing is as well about this whole thing as well. I mean, Tottenham Hotspur have got to be the club that are coming out of this looking like the worst possible. I mean, we all thought that anyway, didn't we? But they're, they're looking like the worst possible club in this thing. And if you're a Tottenham fan, which I'm glad I'm not, you must be so frustrated with how your club are handling this whole coronavirus crisis. First of all, you had Daniel Levy coming out and saying that, he's going to furlough the wages of all non-playing staff, which has upset a lot of people in the football world because they're like, Tottenham, this big, rich club, why do you need to be doing that? Taking essential money from the government when that money could be going to other people right now. Why should you be doing that? That's gone down badly. Liverpool have done a U-turn on it, but Tottenham haven't. They're sticking to their guns. So they're looking terrible with that. The players are apparently really upset with Levy because they feel that he's put undue pressure on them for them to accept a pay cut as well, a 30% pay cut. As a matter of fact, this is kind of how the whole thing came about because he was one of the first people suggesting that. So again, that's caused a big argument between the players and the club. And then yesterday now, you see that their players are out training together. And even Mourinho, the manager, they're out and about. What was it? There's a Hadley Common there was on, right? Training together. I mean, you think to yourself, what's the matter with these people? I mean, Mourinho was trying to insist that they were keeping the social distancing rules. But, there's pictures of Ryan Sessegnon and Davinson Sanchez running side by side. They're not keeping the right distance. And it just sends, again, another bad message out there from Premier League footballers, and again, particularly Tottenham in this case, right? And they are just not dealing with this whole crisis well. They are looking terrible as the days go by when it comes to what's going on with this crisis. There's somebody over there who's really got to get a grip because it's I don't know what they're on right now, but I don't know what you guys think, but it's wow. Their PR machine over there is looking. I wouldn't. If somebody's over there, they probably wouldn't want to be working on it. Let's get into some of your comments. Lots of comments coming in. Thank you very much for that. Lots of people watching this stream live as well. Really appreciate that. As says Upamecano or Koulibaly are the two suitable for Saliba. Now, yeah, that in an ideal world, mate, you're right. But think about the money that's going to be available to Arsenal this summer. Think about the fact that even if you're a player at Arsenal, like say somebody like a Mustafi that Arsenal would love to move out of the club. He's sitting on 90 grand a week. He ain't going to want to go nowhere unless somebody comes in and matches that, especially in this time. For the next few years, you as a footballer, you're looking on it and you're thinking it's uncertain times because this is going to have a knock-on effect on football for the next couple seasons. So you're thinking this is an uncertain time. I'm 27, 28, getting 90 grand a week here. You know what? I'm staying here till my contract runs out, man. I want to collect some money, or unless somebody else comes in and makes a massive offer for me. So it's not going to be easy to move players out that still have contracts available. So some of those big signings, I'm not too sure how many of those we're going to have to be able to pull off. It depends how we come out of this whole situation. Chismark says Arsenal are always selling, selling the right players and keeping the wrong ones, then later crying about it. That's a message from Facebook. This is Alfie. He says, sell Xhaka and buy Partey. Okay, all right. Arsenal Vlog says, hi, Robbie, sending thoughts from Bedfordshire. Thank you very much, mate. Super Picho says, Aussie. A few Aussies on here today. Hopefully the time difference is helping you guys. Let's get this one. This is Varga. He says, no, footballers are just employees like any other, earning more money than the average person. They should not be made scapegoats. It's unfair. And I hear that, Varga, but also there's the argument that, you know, the amount of money they earn, they could afford to forego some of that to help out some of the other people. Well, to help out the club in general, number one, you know, because the club in general might be in a big problem. And as I said, it depends on what the club is. But to help out the club in general, and then also to probably help out the playing staff. You've seen guys like Messi and that over there in Barcelona, you know, take 70% cut. And now I know a player like Messi, he's earning lots of money. He's got lots of other deals, endorsement deals and that as well. So it's probably easier for him to do that. But, you know, this is a time when, you know, it's exceptional circumstances. You've got to give a bit back. But are they being made scapegoats? Varga thinks they are definitely being made scapegoats. Samin says, my dream summer window, Max Aarons, Upamecano, Unai, Nunes, Partey, Maddison, Jota, and that dude from Celtic. You don't want much, do you? Do you see what's going on right now? You don't want much, bro. Oh, no, yeah, that ain't happening. So that dream, that's not going to happen. Not, I didn't think that would have happened pre-coronavirus. Mr. Soko says, much love from Cape Town, South Africa. Big up everybody out there. I know you guys out there as well, going through a lockdown as well. So, you know. Thomas says, Robbie, we miss you. Listen, it's good to be back. Kikiti Pogo, I will prefer prayers themselves. Donate according to what they feel they can contribute and not imposing a way of donation. And of course, he's talking about the players. And yeah, I mean, there is that, but 30% is a lot of money. You know, that would go a long way if they drop 30%. But then I hear what you're saying. Where's that money going to go? You know, that's the question I think a lot of players will be asking. Tottenham players might be saying to Daniel Levy, where, if I drop 30% of that money, where's that going? Arsenal players might be saying to Stan Kroenke, what are you going to do with that 30%? Are you going to give it to the playing staff? Is that going to be used as a reduction? Because I ain't heard no one talk about this one here either. I ain't heard no one talk about this one. A reduction on season tickets for the fans, because it's going to be hard for us. You think about it, right? You know what I mean? A possible 3 months of lockdown, all right, wages being furloughed and that. But times when things get back to normal, or whenever that is, things are going to be really tough. £1,000 a season ticket, £1,200, £1,900, like what they charge at Arsenal, these sort of prices. Is something going to be done about that? Now, if you maybe said to players, drop, because we know that a lot of the expenses for clubs, some clubs, nearly 100% of their expenses comes from player wages. If that is dropped, does that then give a chance for, you know, season ticket prices and ticket prices to be dropped? Does it? You know? So that hasn't really come into the conversation, and that's what that 30% could be used for as well, to give something back to the fans who are going to be struggling. It's got this one there. This is Derek. He says out. The players he thinks he wants out: Lacazette, Mustafi, Xhaka, Socrates, and then I think is in Thuram, Kai Havertz, Papa Gay of Le Havre. The salary remove helps to keep Aubameyang, and then play a 4-3-3. So some really great players that he's talking about there, but that's a lot of players to move out. Emmanuel says much love from China. Big up everybody in China. They've been going through this for a while now, and probably going to show us the way to get out of it as well. Amir here, the super chat, he says, cause of corona, players will become cheap since a lot of clubs will be looking to offload players to sort out their budgets. Thoughts? He's exactly right. That is what's going to happen. That is what's going to happen. That's why every time I kind of have a little bit of a laugh to myself when I see some of these mega amounts being bandied around, for players this summer. It ain't going to happen. People are not going to have that money. These teams are not going to have that money. Simple as. Not in you says, rest in peace, Black the Ripper. Rest in peace to him indeed, who passed away very sadly. Massive Arsenal fan. Used to see him at a lot of games. So, it's really sad to hear that news, and I hope they can get to the bottom of what happened to him. It's really sad. Boss Buckle says, Robbie, do you regret selling Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain? I do. He's done brilliantly at Liverpool. And he was just, for me, really coming into his own at Arsenal. And then we did our usual. We sold him. And this is the annoying thing about Arsenal. This is why, as I say at the top of the show with Torreira, why would we sell him? We shouldn't be selling Torreira. We should be keeping hold of him, because probably when he comes back next season, this is when he's going to be in his prime. He's used to the country now. He's used to the Premier League. Now we might get the best out of him. But if the right offer came in for him, I could see us selling him to cash in. And that's the annoying thing about us. We cash in too much. Aubameyang, why are we even thinking of selling him? We should be going and putting a deal on the table. If you've got to move out other players to keep him, you move them out. You keep what you want, you move out what you don't want. That's how the really top clubs operate. But unfortunately, we seem to always lose our biggest players. Listen, thank you for joining me today on the first early edition. We're going to be back, of course, tonight with another live show. I've got Graham coming on, God willing. So Graham should be on the show tonight. Graham, of course, who's always joins me on the Tactical Insight show. So Graham will be joining me tonight. So make sure you tune in for that. And also coming up around about midday, the start of our new quiz. You've got to check out the quiz. I hope you're going to enjoy it. No cheating on the quiz. No cheating on the quiz, right? I think you're going to enjoy that quiz. We're going to be doing that daily as well. And all the other features here on AFTV. We're trying to keep you entertained as you're in lockdown or as you're being restricted with movements right around the world. It's a really horrible situation at the moment, but we are going to get through this. We are going to beat this. Please stay at home and stay safe. If you're over here in the UK, please follow all of what the government are saying. We've got to stay home. It's not going to be forever, but right now we've got to stay home. Stay home to protect the NHS, stay home to protect people. And if we stay home, we will get through this thing quicker than if we're out doing rubbish and trying to carry on like things are normal. Things are not normal. So let's just get through this and get back to normal and get back some football. I'd love to see some football right now. Thanks, and I'll see you tonight.